Welcome to Nicole's Notes, a study guide for everyday life and beyond. I'm Nicole Zeller. Every episode, we dig into what matters: politics, relationships, culture, the absurdities that make being human so damn complicated. No apologies, no simplified answers. Just clear thinking about messy things. Let's go. Okay, so if God is out, and I've spent 2 episodes explaining why I think God is out, the question everyone wants answered is, but then what? What gives you purpose? What makes you moral? What happens when you die? What do you reach for at 3 in the morning when everything feels impossible? I've heard the fear underneath that question my whole life, and I get it. The idea that there's no one driving this bus is genuinely alarming until you realize there never was, and you've been driving the whole time. When you have a diagnosis like mine, you understand your mortality in a way most people spend enormous energy avoiding. For years, that awareness sent me into a frenzy I'm calling Race 1. Do everything before I die. Get the degrees, start the business, build the foundation, travel, fall in love, accomplish, accomplish, accomplish. Every moment felt like it could be the last, so every moment had to be productive, had to matter, and had to count. It was exhausting. I mean, it is exhausting. And it was coming from my own fear, my fear that if I didn't do enough, my life wouldn't have been worth the struggle to keep it going. Then Trikafta happened. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I want to dwell on it for a second. Because the psychological aftermath was not what I expected. When the drug worked, when I stopped feeling like I was drowning, when the mucus started clearing the way it was supposed to, I became very lost. My entire life had been built around planning for my death. 6 months at a time, never more, because I wasn't sure where I'd be here. And suddenly I had what? A future, an actual future. It truly was a mind fuck. I didn't know what to do with that. The question shifted completely for me. It stopped being, what can I accomplish before I die? What do I have to get done? What stone needs to be turned over? And it became what I'm actually trying to say. What do I actually stand for? Why does any of this matter? And here's the thing. That question only makes sense if no God is handing me the answer. If your purpose is predetermined by a divine plan, you're not creating meaning, you're receiving instructions. Your job is compliance, not creation. But if there is no God, then you have to build it yourself. You have to look at the raw material of your life, your history, your losses, your surviving, your specific, unrepeatable accumulation of experiences, and decide what it means. That is either the most terrifying thing I've ever described to you or the most liberating, depending on where you're sitting right now. I chose liberation. Took me a while, but I chose it. So science replaces God, not as a deity, as a method. The honest observation of reality, the willingness to follow evidence where it leads, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it contradicts what you were told, even when the answer is colder than you wanted. Medicine replaces God, not as a savior, as a practice. When I'm sick, I don't pray. I take meds. I go to the hospital. I do airway clearance. I see my doctors. I have procedures. Humans figured out how to keep me alive, and humans will figure out how to keep me alive longer. That's not divine. It's human. And that's so much more powerful to me than a miracle. Determination replaces God. The refusal to accept what the universe hands you. My CF diagnosis was supposed to end me before I was 5. I'm almost 54. I have 2 degrees, working on some more. I had a business and sold it. I raised $3.5 million. For cystic fibrosis research, I completed the CrossFit Open with severely reduced lung function and placed near last over 5 weeks. But I would do it again tomorrow because it's not about placing. It's about refusing. Not because God gave me strength, because I chose strength. Every day, every breath, every decision to keep going despite the odds. That's agency, and that's my power. I used to say, let go and let God. Now I say, let go of the illusion that someone else is managing this. We have to trust ourselves that we will be okay. Then we have the strength to handle what comes. And that's not arrogance, it's accountability. That's the thing faith was always supposed to give you, pointed in the right direction. My purpose isn't to fulfill a divine plan. My purpose is to do good, to build things that matter, to use my platform and my brain and my very particular hard-won experience to help people think more clearly, live more fiercely, and refuse to settle for less than they deserve. And I'm not doing it because God commands it. I'm doing it because I choose it. And you know what? That choice feels infinitely more real than anything a church ever taught me. The universe does not care about me. And that means everything I accomplish is mine. Every breath beyond what CF should have allowed is a victory I fought for. Every person I help because I decided to. Every fierce thing that I am, that's all me. Not a deity, not a plan, not destiny. Just me, conscious, choosing, creating meaning in a very indifferent universe. As your host, I want to thank you for listening, and I also want you to remember, stay fierce. The world will adjust.